At some point, almost every man experiences this strange confusion. You open your phone without thinking, you scroll, you see people laughing, traveling, flirting, winning, and suddenly, without anything actually happening in your real life, you feel a quiet pressure in your chest. Not jealousy exactly, not sadness either, just a subtle feeling that you are behind, that something about you is not enough. In modern dating, this feeling becomes even sharper. You text someone, they don't reply for hours. You check their story, they're active. Your mind starts filling the silence with assumptions. And most men never realize this moment is where the psychological shift begins. Later, you'll understand why this matters more than you think. When a man stops using social media, the first thing that happens is not confidence, it's discomfort. Silence feels loud. There's no constant feedback loop telling him how he's doing. No likes, no views, no digital proof that he exists. His brain, which has been trained to seek micro-validation, starts panicking quietly. This is why most men come back within days. Not because social media is useful, but because withdrawal exposes something deeper. It exposes how much emotional regulation had been outsourced to a screen. And this is where the real psychological change either begins or ends. In dating, social media creates an illusion of proximity. You think you know people because you see their lives. But when a man steps away, something interesting happens. He stops feeling emotionally involved with people who are not actually present in his life. Texting loses its urgency. Ghosting hurts less. Rejection becomes cleaner. Not easier, but clearer. Because without constant exposure, the brain stops rehearsing imagined outcomes. This is one of the hidden rules of modern attraction that is rarely explained. Emotional intensity grows through repetition, not importance, and social media is repetition on steroids. As days pass, a man who stays offline begins to notice his thoughts slowing down. Not in a dramatic way, just fewer mental interruptions. He's not comparing his timeline to someone else's highlight reel. His nervous system isn't constantly scanning for social signals. This is when emotional control quietly improves. He reacts less, he pauses more, and people around him can feel this shift, even if they can't name it. Calm presence has weight, especially in dating, especially in masculine psychology. Here's something most men don't expect. When you're not online, attraction dynamics subtly change. You become less predictable, less available for instant reassurance, not because you're playing games, but because your attention is no longer fragmented. In modern dating culture, where overcommunication kills mystery, this absence creates space. And space is where curiosity lives. Later, you'll see how this impacts confidence in ways motivation never could. If this kind of psychological breakdown speaks to you, take a moment to like the video and subscribe. Not as a habit, but as a signal to yourself that you're reinterested in understanding how the male mind actually works beneath the surface. That's what we quietly explore here on the male code, मर्दों का खफिया code, without noise, without extremes. As weeks go by, the man who stays off social media experiences a strange recalibration of self-worth. Confidence becomes internal again. It's no longer borrowed from reactions. This doesn't mean he suddenly feels powerful. It means he feels grounded. And grounding is far more attractive than bravado. In rejection especially, this shows up clearly. When interest isn't returned, it hurts, but it doesn't spiral. There's no endless analysis fueled by online clues. No checking who watched what. The emotional wound closes faster because it's not being reopened every hour. Another shift happens in perception. He starts noticing how often people perform instead of connect. Conversations feel different. Eye contact lasts longer. He listens more deeply because his mind isn't half elsewhere. This presence subtly changes how others respond to him, especially women. Not because presence is a trick, but because it signals emotional stability. And emotional stability is one of the most underrated attraction triggers in modern dating psychology. Without social media, loneliness can surface more honestly. There's no illusion of connection. And this is uncomfortable, but it's also clarifying. Men who sit with this discomfort either rebuild real-world connections or develop a stronger relationship with solitude. Both outcomes strengthen identity. And identity is the foundation of masculine confidence. Not dominance, not status, identity. Over time, desire itself changes. The constant exposure to idealized bodies, lifestyles, and options fades. Expectations normalize. Attraction becomes more selective, more human. This is why many men report feeling less desperate, even if their dating life becomes quieter at first. The brain is no longer overstimulated, and when stimulation drops, intention rises. Eventually, something subtle but powerful happens. A man stops narrating his life and starts living it. Moments are experienced instead of documented. Achievements feel personal. Failures feel instructive instead of embarrassing. This shift creates a quiet self-respect that doesn't need to announce itself. And people sense it. This doesn't mean social media is evil. It means it is psychologically loud, and not every man benefits from noise. Some men grow in silence. Some discover who they are when no one is watching. And those men move differently through dating, rejection, attraction, and life itself. If you've ever taken a break from social media or thought about it, share your experience in the comments. Did it make you calmer, lonelier, clearer, or more confident? And if you know a man who's constantly stuck in comparison, scrolling, and emotional confusion, send this video to him. Sometimes awareness is the first step toward change.